So I'm just thinking about this Andrew Cuomo resignation story, and the dominant theme that I'm picking up on Twitter is, well, it doesn't matter how many old people you kill, but if you speak inappropriately to women and they decide later that they resent it, then you're out. And that's not what I take away. So if you're a governor or you're in any kind of position where you depend upon cooperation with other people, then it doesn't matter for whether you're going to resign or not, whether or not you're right or how severe your infraction is. What matters is what's your relationship to other people. So morality changes, and things that are acceptable one day become unacceptable the next day. So also, the reason that people get in trouble, it may not be the stated reason. So apparently he's resigning because of these allegations about his behavior, but that may not be the primary issue here. Primary issue seems to be that people are sick of Mayor Cuomo, Governor Cuomo, and they just want to get rid of him. And that's sometimes going to happen. Like, people are sometimes just going to get sick of you. And they may tell you it's because of your bad breath. They may tell you it's because of something inappropriate you said to a client. People, an organization say, well, this raises, liability concerns. But the things that the people tell you or say about you are not necessarily the real reasons. So we depend on other people. We are much more dependent on other people than how we want to think. So we can think we did nothing wrong, but we depend on other people. We depend upon the cooperation of other people, or at least we depend upon other people not wanting to ruin us. So it seemed like a critical mass of people decided that they wanted to be rid of Andrew Cuomo. And guess what? If a critical mass of people wants to be rid of you, whether it's in your job, your church, your synagogue, your community, your profession, your college, they can usually bring enough pressure to bear that they will get rid of you. And it won't necessarily be because of the stated reasons. So I like this Andrew Cuomo story for the way it illustrates how the real world works, in that, in particular, we depend upon either the cooperation of other people or at least the other people not wanting to go on a jihad against us. So everybody has a home address, everybody has vulnerabilities, everybody should have families, friends, community, weak points to push on. And if the people who can push on those weak points decide to push on your weak points, doesn't matter that much whether you're in the right or you're in the wrong or you're only mildly in the wrong. All right, when people want to get rid of you, they can usually exert enough pressure to get rid of you. And the more prestigious your job, and the more you depend upon other people cooperating with you, then the more vulnerable you are to this type of pressure. So if you're a construction worker, you can go on YouTube and you can say anything you want, pretty much. If you're a plumber, you can go on YouTube and say pretty much anything you want. But if you're a city councilman, if you're a mayor, if you're a governor, if you're a member of the House of Representatives, if you're a politician, you're usually going to depend on the cooperation of other people, or at least have them not hate you so much that they're dedicated to driving you out. And so questions of right and wrong are important. Like, how severe were the moral infractions that Andrew Cuomo engaged in with these women who are complaining about his inappropriate, touchy-feely nature? Like, it seems to me really minor. But that doesn't matter in this situation for him being able to do his job as governor. What matters is people don't want to cooperate with him anymore. All right? He has dropped in social status. So he was up here, now he's dropped down to here. Right? So you may be going along in social status like this, and then suddenly, for whatever reason, your social status suddenly rises, and therefore what you can ask of other people will change. Like, if I became famous overnight, let's say I saved the president's life, then everyone will return my phone call. But if you're cruising along here in social status and then it suddenly drops, right? Then all the things that you used to be able to expect go away. Like, there was this good article in Los Angeles magazine that I just read. Musician Ryan Adams. All right, so he was cruising along in life, and then he became the subject of a Me Too article in the New York Times under the headline, Ryan Adams dangled success, women say they paid a price. So he was going along, and then various women made allegations of sexual misconduct, emotional abuse, right? Emotional abuse can be anything. Like, emotional abuse could be me telling you that you're a dick, of obsessive and retaliatory behavior with several female artists, and his ex-wife accuses him of emotional cruelty and sabotaging her music career. So almost everything that this guy is accused of, pretty much anyone in his position could be accused of. And most damaging, the New York Times said that Adams traded sexually explicit messages online with an underage girl. Well, if you review the messages, apparently she told him she was 18. And she was a public performer. She was singing in public. So he had every reason to believe that she was 18. But yeah, you don't want to be trading sexual messages with with people who can ruin your life. So when I talk to sponsees, I tell them, record these calls by all means. You might find them useful. I may say something. You may say something that you want to listen back to later. And this knowledge that my sponsee is recording or could be recording, it affects how I speak. Because, what if the sponsee plays this for a friend? Then how's it going to look? So I could say something to a sponsee in a particular context and it's perfectly appropriate, but then when the conversation is played out of that context and other people hear it, they could understand it differently. So keeping in mind that everything I'm saying could be recorded has a salutary effect on me. And when I teach an Alexander technique lesson, I welcome clients recording the lesson. And so that also has a salutary effect on me. I don't say anything in an Alexander technique lesson, or usually in a work setting, or in a 12-step sponsorship relationship that I would not want recorded. And then that tends to make me more responsible. I tend to generally try to live my life as though, what if what I'm saying and doing were accurately portrayed on the front page of the New York Times? So this singer, Ryan Adams, just had his life destroyed. And so he was going along like this, and then he lost all social status. He even went negative in social status, and pretty much everybody turned their back on him. And so that's what happened to, I think, Governor Andrew Cuomo. COVID hit, he rapidly gained in social status. He was like sky high in social status, and then everything came crashing down. And so he can no longer count on the cooperation of other people, and people don't want to be associated with him. So I've experienced that, where I was going along with a moderate amount of social status, and then some things were said about me, or things came out about me, and in certain circles, like, my social status just hit the floor, and then people would shy away, they would try to distance themselves from me. Then other times, say after I was on 60 Minutes or on Entertainment Tonight or something like that, then more people wanted to associate with me. So our social status is going to affect how much people cooperate with us and what we can get away with. So also, the more socially prestigious your job, the more vulnerable you are to getting canceled. So am I at a Motel 6? I got to have some secrets, bros. I got to have some, different locations. You don't think I can just share everything, just bring everything to the table and just lay it all out. I mean, look, I was interviewing Richard Spencer last night, and my wife kicked me out of the house, so I had to go to a Motel 6, but I'm in good spirits. So, I mean, Michael Tracy read some really good things, I think, on Governor Andrew Cuomo and how piddling these allegations of sexual misconduct are. I mean, this is the first time we've had a major sexual misconduct scandal without any sex. Apparently, nothing even coming close to sex. But it's funny that he's resigning ostensibly because of these sexual misconduct allegations, when his bad policies with regard to COVID and nursing homes killed thousands of people, and there wasn't much pressure for him to resign. Thank you. You're going to leave the light on for me. So I notice in these types of situations, people tend to focus on, I didn't do anything wrong. All right? You can not do anything wrong, and other people can decide for reasons of their own benefit that they don't want to associate with you anymore. They don't want to cooperate with you anymore. All right? We're in an attention economy, and someone who's now suddenly regarded as creepy is going to have less ability to hold onto your attention, so they're going to lose in status and power, and that's going to inhibit their ability to do their job. So I just noticed this initial response. He didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. But that's not the question. I think the primary question is, what are the incentives facing the people around you, right? What incentives? So if you fall in social status, then people are going to have incentives to shy away from you. Wish he'd fought till the end. Hasn't Cuomo seen downfall? Well, a lot of people think they're brave, and a lot of people think they're strong, but everybody's got a weak point. And when there's enough weight coming down on you, everyone's going to crumble at some point. So this also feeds into my belief in the power of situation. Right? Situation has far more to do with how we behave and how we think and how we feel and how we speak often than any innate qualities. So Governor Andrew Cuomo seems like a really strong guy, but in certain situations like this, he finally crumbles. And you may think you're a strong guy, but if enough pressure is put on your weak points, you will crumble. So people who we regard as heroes, it just so happens that they got into situations that matched with their strong points, and so they were able to behave in ways that most people would regard as heroic. But everybody who you think is a hero, there are situations where they would be cowards. Everyone who you think is an upstanding citizen and a moral inspiration and a teacher of light and love, in other situations they're going to be creepy and cowardly and weak. Right? So we all have situations that bring out the worst in us, and we all have situations that bring out the best in us. And so those who we regard as great, well, it just so happens that we only think about them in regard to those situations where they are great. And people that we think suck, much of that is simply that we only think about them with regard to situations where they are not impressive. And people who we think of as competent, it's because we're thinking about them in situations where they are competent. So we all have situations where we're competent and situations where we're incompetent. We all have situations where we're honorable. So some people will be honorable at work and dishonorable in their private sexual behavior. Other people will be honorable with regard to their private sexual behavior, but they'll be dishonorable at work. Yeah, likely there's some kind of quid pro quo, resign now without impeachment, and you may be spared certain levels of humiliation. So often an army will keep fighting until there's absolutely no hope. So as I see it, Governor Cuomo wanted to keep fighting until he saw the writing on the wall, until he saw that there was absolutely no hope.